All right, moving on to Commission Liaison Reports and Comments. I'll start this side. Vice Mayor?
Me?
Yes, you.
Okay. Not too much tonight. I did have the good fortune to attend the Memorial Day services here in Lake Worth, sponsored by the American Legion, as well as the Memorial Day services in Boynton Beach in remembrance of forgotten soldiers. So, I was encouraged to see that the numbers are starting to grow a little bit in some of these services, and I think that's really a cool thing. We all, I think, should maybe think a little bit more about what Memorial Day means. I actually heard it said at both events, it's not a day for mattress sales and barbecues necessarily. It's really designed for a much greater purpose than I think most people celebrate it for, and I don't think it would hurt any of us to pause for a few minutes on that day and come out and remember those who gave everything for us to live in the greatest country on planet Earth. So I was really blessed to be able to go to both of those events. I continue to hit the neighborhood association meetings primarily because they're a lot of fun, and I also get a lot of information out of it. And the big information coming out these days is all the hype and excitement about the raft race that's coming up in July. So, I've noticed a heightened level of trash talking, and I've been cornered at each time I leave the room and sworn to secrecy not to give up the secrets for each respective neighborhood association. However, it is all about economics, so if you have a couple extra bucks and feel like you want to bribe me, I might be able to let you know.
There are no rules.
There are no rules.
There are no rules to the raft race.
All proceeds will be donated to a worthy cause. We'll get some raft materials for somebody. But seriously, a lot of great ideas I'm hearing out there for raft ideas this year. And have we officially decided what we're doing?
Yeah.
Is that a done deal? Has everybody heard what the city's entry is going to be called?
The grapes
The grapes
of raft.
of raft.
This is interesting. Did you actually groan?
Yeah. So, let everybody on record.
We will not be wearing those Fruit of the Loom costumes, okay, with the balloons. Right now. Because you can't row.
Anyway, that's all I have for
It's not like we could row before either, so it doesn't really matter.
Just
keep the rudder on.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor.
You got it. Commissioner McAvoy?
Yeah, also just very brief. Like Commissioner Maxwell, I didn't attend both Boynton Beach, but I did attend the Lake Worth Memorial Day service, and I sort of made it a tradition to go over. I was invited to go over to the American Legion, and I've taken to doing that, and always feels good to talk to some of the different folks that have been involved in these situations. So I'm glad that we do the remembrance of that, and I agree with Commissioner Maxwell that taking a moment to remember other than sales is a good thing. And I will take the moment to just comment, because I didn't want to mess with the consent agenda, but one of the items on there is appointing board members to some of the volunteer boards of our city. And I just want to reiterate a comment, this is primarily for my fellow commissioners, that I would like to propose that we re-examine how we do that. I know that there was concern of how we used to do it, but for those of you who don't go back that far, the way that we did it for several years when I was first on, is that we had every year a period where people knew that there were openings on the board. Anybody who was interested could come and apply, and all of us would interview them. And we would all hear from different people. I found it a very positive thing. It gave a number of citizens an opportunity, whether they were selected to the boards or not, to meet us, that they might or might not do. And it gave us an opportunity to meet a number of citizens in the community. Sometimes we had citizens who or residents who had just recently arrived and wanted to contribute to their community, and we didn't know them at all, and they had some particular skill. We all got to meet them, and we all got to see the whole collective suite of talents that were available and put our heads together a little bit on what made most sense to put on different boards. What we do now is we don't take that time. It was quite time consuming, but I think a reasonable investment of commissioner time. Now it just sort of happens in the background. Anybody who's interested applies, it's associated with a particular commissioner, it rotates around, it's a complicated scheme that makes Sylvina's head hurt and mine too. trying to figure it out. And the disadvantage is that whoever proposes something, we all approve it, which is fine. I mean, and you don't want to be in the position, no, I don't approve your nominee, which, that's kind of not good. And it doesn't get the benefit of us that are interaction and that learning of our community. So I would like to propose at some point that we revisit that and go back to something with new and improved version, of course. Improve on what we used to do, but something similar. End of my comments.
Okay. Commissioner Russo?
Yes, to start with Memorial Day, I too attended the Memorial Day service. It was a great service. The one thing that I felt was lacking was people. I thought there should have been more people there, so I encourage everyone. I know everybody's busy in their schedules, but I encourage more people to come out. It was a great event. We had a great cleanup at the H Street Park on Saturday. Thank you for, I see a lot of faces in the room that showed up. We had over 40 people show up. It was a great turnout, so thank you for that. We have another one coming up June 13th. If you remember, we try to, the CRA and the neighborhood associations, try to have one every month, one every other month. We're working on one for Mago Groves, maybe in July. They wanted to really focus on their raft, so we tabled theirs for June, but Downtown Jewel is having one June 13th. I had the pleasure of attending Downtown Jewel as their speaker last night. Again, over 40 people showed up. Thank you for being part of the community and getting involved. Palm Beach County League of Cities, I had the honor of being sworn into their board a couple weeks ago, so I look forward to carrying on where Vice Mayor Maxwell was on their board last year. So I look forward to that. Last month, I had the honors of, I sat on Policy and Advocacy Board for the National League of Cities, and also their vice president for the gay and lesbian delegates. So I was in Washington lobbying on behalf of the National League of Cities, but also on behalf of the city of Lake Worth. Here on the dais, you'll see 3 of the initiatives the National League of Cities is focusing on. I mentioned it last month, but I just want to remind everybody, sales tax loophole, which affects when you buy online. It affects brick and mortar stores, so they're working on bringing more taxes to the actual cities. We identified from 2013 over $32 billion that's not coming back to local municipalities. Local transportation priorities, that falls into transportation long-term, financial issues with transportation, also infrastructure. And then municipal bonds, because there were talks about cutting some of that, and if any of the cities looking at infrastructure needs, you know that the bonds go along with it. From those meetings, I'll be meeting with Lois Frankel. Friday she'll be here looking at some of the issues on sober homes. She wants to take a look at exactly what is going on at the beach. I know the mayor has met with her here, vice mayor has met with her here on infrastructure needs. So she's very vested in Lake Worth. She really cares, and she wants to help any way she can. So by attending these meetings, they hear us, we're at the table. Lake Worth, they're talking about Lake Worth, and when it comes to infrastructure and everything, we're there. You also have a pen that says Go Local. While we were in Washington, we were reminding them that they need to remember that everything comes from the local, and we encourage them to go local, because when they're up for re-election, who's voting for them? The locals. So that was a big thing. We did the groundbreaking for Lucente this afternoon, which is the new condos that are going in behind the post office. And they said that they already have 4 sold. And yes, it's a good thing. And the 4 that were sold were actually homeowners. They weren't renters. They did share with us that they can't stop somebody from buying to use it as a rental, but they really are trying to focus on getting home ownership. So that was great. That's it on my liaison. However, I am the liaison for the ITN, so I need to bring that up at this point. It was given, the direction was given by the mayor to bring it up at our next meeting with the ITN recommendations. And the ITN recommendations At some point, we need to have that discussion here. I don't know whether the direction is to have that tonight, or you want to schedule a special meeting. We did hear from the floor that a lot of people wanted to see all three of the proposals. That was not the ITN recommendation. The ITN recommendation at this time was to move forward with some studies, and some parking studies, some other issues. I did print out for the dais the actual, there was a study done in '03, and I had sent it over to William Waters to ask if the study could be used, and his response is here too. I didn't print out the study for you because it's 62 pages, but I gave you the reference page to where you can find the study, and also the printout of William Waters' response. And his response was that some of the study could be used, some of it couldn't. So I encourage you to read it prior to making any decisions or moving forward. But again, the recommendation was to move forward with possibly looking at renting the 5,000 square feet to the person that was interested in that. Again, our recommendation was to look at that. However, we thought that they weren't offering enough money. So that's something that the dais can decide whether they want to move forward with or not. Also the studies, and then again, I remind you from the public, I think the just I took away was they were looking at possibly having a meeting where we looked at all three proposals. One of the proposals that's no longer on the table would be the Wave House, but I think the community wanted to see all three that we were looking at.
Okay, so we'd have to bring it back as an agenda item number 1. Can we at least bring back the presentations as a presentation in a meeting, and then we can have an agenda item separately?
It's up to you.
I don't know. That's fine.
I'm starting to get confused again. What exactly, could you, Commissioner Amoroso, can you specifically spell out what the recommendation from the
The
ITN?
recommendation from the ITN was to move forward with parking studies, and along with the parking studies was site and development, study management of traffic intensity, level of inclusion and use for the actual complex, and looking at, I was sent the actual copy of the study that was done, and it was done back, if you remember the name, Greater Bay. And it was done back when they were looking at doing some work with Greater Bay. So it really, a lot of the study works for what they were looking at doing then, so it doesn't necessarily work for what we're doing, and you'll see William Waters' response. So again, the ITN recommendation was at this time to table Hudson Holdings' proposal for up to 6 months while we move forward with the study, if that is your direction to move forward with the study, and then also possibly negotiate for the 5,000 square feet with the tenant that's interested in that space.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so is the recommendation that we dismiss everybody other than the 5,000 square feet? Is that the recommendation? Because I'm kind of getting mixed messages here. I'm kind of putting...
That's the recommendation from the ITN. This board can either take the recommendation from the ITN board, or they can move forward with any piece of or any thought.
My impression was that the recommendation was to move forward with negotiations with the restaurateur for the 5,000 feet, or 5,000 square foot. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what does the rest of this have to do with 5,000 square feet?
Well, the board felt, the ITN board felt that any negotiation with even the 5,000 square feet, there would need to be studies. At this point, we have identified parking issues. The study that was done,
Who identified the parking issues?
the board did, your ITN board, parking issues, that may or may not be sufficient for what you have there now. And then also if you add another 5,000 square feet of restaurant space, you may have other issues with parking.
Time fellow.
So the ITN committee is saying that in its current configuration, there's a parking problem.
Correct.
Okay.
We feel there is a parking problem now, based on what we've seen, what we've heard. Also, during spring break, the police informed us that they had to get out on A1A and walk up the hill because the parking was so bad at that time. So if the police had to get out on A1A, emergency vehicles couldn't get in either.
Can I add something?
City manager?
When you say traffic study, I think everybody's mind went to number of trips.
Well,
to the beach. Yeah,
I said what?
and really the gist is about the types of uses or proposed uses and how they would function internally with the given set of configurations. For example, we have a real problem trying to even pull off valet. And that's something we don't have a bus stop. There's structural things in there that if a development comes in or you do the space may need to be addressed. So don't think of parking or a traffic study as number of trips coming in as much as internal operation of the parking and movement of traffic.
Well, I don't think I specified traffic study. I said studies including site development, study management of
I know,
traffic
but I've heard
intensity
everybody's
and
picked
level.
up on traffic studies and they're thinking number of trips.
Because it encompassed, the board had identified that it encompassed, even if you put a restaurant up there, they want signage, they want valet. We talked about the bus service, where would the valet drop off and pick up. So, just the site development of any kind, either future or now, trying to identify if we've got what we need up there, and if we move forward with anything, what would we need to add.
Did you just want to follow up that?
I just need to digest this, go ahead and take this one.
I did attend that last ITN meeting, as I'm guessing some people in the room did as well, and what I took away myself, but Commissioner Ambrose is welcome to correct if my impression was wrong, but I sort of had the impression that the discussion of doing further studies, although it was somewhat linked to the proposal to rent, the specific proposal from one group to rent the 5,000-foot north space on the second floor, it seemed to really grow out, and traffic studies and capacity studies seemed to be mentioned quite explicitly, that if we were considering something on the order of magnitude and size and depth of the Hudson Holdings project, before the ITN or anybody else would recommend moving forward with anything like that, there was a need to do some sort of study of the capacity of the beach, whether the details for trips or parking or circulation or whatever, but some sort of sense, could you develop more in the direction that Hudson Holdings was talking about with the current configurations, or would you need a parking garage, or what all would you need to do? That was what I took away from the comments that were made.
This is the Commissioner Liaison reports here. We don't have an agenda item, so we
No,
can't
but-
vote on anything or move on it. Can we table this here to either move it to an agenda item? The recommendation of the group that was here last time in the audience, people wanted to see the proposals. Either way, we can set that up as a presentation, doesn't have to be an agenda item, right?
That workshop.
If y'all want me to bring back that,
Right.
you just need to tell me that. So,
Well, that was what the people in that room
I know,
basically
but-
wanted to see it, not with the vote on it. Again,
Right.
there was a lot of confusion over this. I just wanna make sure that we're moving at a proper pace for people to understand what's going on and make their own decisions and just look at everything. You know what I mean? I still don't know all the details of things, so I'd like to see the presentation. I'd love to see all three of them, to be quite honest.
if that's the consensus, I can go from there and
Can we
coordinate.
start with that?
If that's the consensus of the commission. If that's the consensus of the commission to bring back the three proposals and have a presentation. And nothing more at this point. Is that what you want to do?
At this point, yeah, that's fine. Vice Mayor?
Sure. Again, I guess we're not gonna vote on anything, but I too got the impression, and I kind of kept a tally, that the folks wanted to see these, I would like to see the presentations.
I know, me too.
I really haven't seen the presentations. I've seen some documentation, I've heard a lot of stuff in public, but I haven't seen the presentations, so I'd like to see the presentations. The only thing that I'd add to that would be, if that is the will of the commission, that given the importance of these presentations and the importance of the issue, that the presentations be given in a standalone meeting format and not as part of a regular meeting, because I think that it really needs to be a standalone where people that are genuinely interested in the issue can come and participate.
I agree with you 100%, except we've got a meeting scheduled for every week for the next 26 weeks. You know, I mean, I don't mind doing it as a separate.
Well, you know, we have a
Whatever you
couple,
guys think, I'm green, whatever you want. Commissioner McQueen?
Just two comments. I don't have a problem with having a public meeting where the presentations are presented and we, as long as we give plenty of notice to the public that they're welcome to come. Two conditions that would be very important to me. One is, if we do such a meeting, I'm fine with it being a standalone meeting. I think that's not a bad idea. But I'm not wedded to that one way or the other. I do feel quite strongly two things. One is that I believe it's important that the public be able to comment, maybe even ask questions. You know, can there be some back and forth? I don't know how we arrange that, but maybe there's a way. And the other is, it was mentioned, Greater Bay was mentioned, and I would need a very, very clear, preferably written statement from our city attorney that I do not ever want either myself or any other commissioner to be in a situation where we have taken steps that sets ourselves up to be sued by a developer that says, hey, you kind of gave us the impression that we could do something, and now you're saying no, and we're suing them. Because that's happened, and it costs the city, it costs the resident 1.6 million. And it doesn't matter whether it's me voting on it or not, but whoever, I don't want commissioners in the future to be in any way. So I would need, prior to any scheduling of such a meeting, a very clear assurance that we're in no way putting ourselves at exposure. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
That, City Manager?
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Meyer?
Just a possible suggestion would be that you would put this information and have it available online versus having it be a meeting where people will make comments. But I would be open to having that kind of meeting too.
Thank you. Okay, great. All right, I forgot, I get the report too.
I also have a
I think
report.
Commissioner
Oh, I'm
Mark.
sorry, you had more, I'm sorry. We got so off track there, sorry, Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you and good evening. Just very quickly, I also attended the neighborhood cleanup in the Tropical Ridge neighborhood on May 30th. I just wanted to give a shout out to the CRA Compass, the Tropical Ridge Neighborhood Association, and the Royal Poinciana Neighborhood Association. If I missed anyone else who hosted that event, I apologize, but thank you to those organizations for hosting a very well-attended event. Thank you. As Commissioner Amoroso mentioned, there is another one coming up on June 13th. Just to give you the specifics on that, we will be meeting on June 13th at 219 South L Street, and that event is from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Last Tuesday, I attended a public meeting that was set up for the public to comment on how we would spend a roughly $35,000 justice assistance grant. The other commissioners and the mayor are familiar with a program that we have. Being a new commissioner, this was my first time learning about it. I was, however, a little surprised to see that I was the only person that attended the meeting. And that's not placing blame on anyone. I'm more curious how we can get that message out so that more people from the public can be involved in things like this, and so that we can get more public comment. Throughout my campaign, I heard a call from the city at large for the opportunity to have more public comment regarding city functions. So here we have based on our budget, a relatively large sum of money. I do think that ultimately our use of the money, we do have this really great program. We have a staff member here who takes adolescents and puts them through a series of programs that prevent them from entering the world of committing crimes, essentially, to put that in layman's terms. Sounded like a great program to me. I don't have any complaints about the whole process. I would just like to hear ideas from the public, and you can email me directly. It's rmaier, M-A-I-E-R, @lakeworth.org, and just let the rest of the commissioners know how we could get you guys more involved in those processes. And then just lastly, I would like to support Commissioner McFoy's comments about the board appointments. Having served on a city board in the past and been a part of the previous selection process, it was a way for me as a first-time applicant to connect with all of the commissioners and for the commissioners to know who I am versus the process we have now where board appointments could happen and 4 of the 5 commissioners could actually have never met that board appointment. And then, of course, it is called the Voluntary Advisory Board. Those boards are supposed to be advising the commission. So how can they advise a commission that they've never met before? So I also think that there needs to be some revision in the process. Perhaps there were flaws in the old process, but I think that we should do continued work to make the process be more effective. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Memorial Day, American Legion, that was an incredible day. It was a much bigger turnout this year, and but we still could use more people to get involved. Right at our very own Pinecrest Cemetery, I want to thank the junior ROTC. Every year comes out, and they help us, along with our grounds department, to make sure that that cemetery, we have so many veterans that are laid to rest there, looks respectful and clean and nice, and I want to thank them. Every year they come out and help us.
And the Boy Scouts.
And the Boy Scouts too, yeah, and boy, they did an incredible job this year. It just looked wonderful. I got a notice here, Bridges of Lake Worth has facilitated a community dialogue focused on the prevention of child abuse and neglect. And they're inviting everyone in the community to come out on Thursday, this Thursday, 5:30 to 7, South Grade Elementary School. And you can actually hear about some of the discussions to deal with that within our community. If you're interested, please call Sylvana. She has the flyer and more information on that. Did you mention the kids' summer fun in the fun day in the garden? Because who mentioned something on June 13th?
That is also the neighborhood.
Another cleanup, okay. This is the same day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. 2000 North D Street. Jump in, the water's great. Don't you want to help some kids that just don't get the opportunity to have fun? Bring your kids. And they're inviting kids from foster homes, home support shelters, Farm Workers Council, My Guatemala Center, Lewis Center, Lourdes Place, and more. There's going to be all kinds of great stuff happening there. Lots of stuff for the kids, a food drive, scrap metal drive. Again, that's Saturday, June 17th. And that's at the Grey Mockingbird Garden.
Scottish Rites.
Scottish Rites. So again, that's Saturday the 13th from 9 to 1. In addition to that, MPO met